As a second grade teacher, I was always taking notes on my students, and I was trying to collect that data because I wanted to use it to differentiate what I was doing in my small group instruction and my individualized instruction. But the problem that I hit, just like every other teacher, was that all the binders and the notebooks I was using, the whole system was kind of overwhelming, and it just took way too long to cross-reference that data to get at what I really needed to see to teach to my students. So I have a programming background, so I built a note-taking app called Confer. And I designed Confer so that I could really identify the teaching points, the strengths, and the next steps for each of my students. And then it let me sort the students based on those fields. So what it let me see was suddenly all the instructional needs that were present in the class and which students had each of those particular needs. And that transformed what I was able to do in the class in terms of differentiation and small group instruction. And then as other teachers started using it, I would hear stories from them saying, this is what it's letting me do with my data, and this is what's letting me do when I meet with my students.
The process of going through the pages of notes and flipping sort of back and forth and looking for the teaching points and looking for the next steps that matched up with all the different kids, and then to sort of crunch all that data and then put it into the format of an actual strategy grid, like a schedule. I mean, we're talking an hour and a half, probably just for that one task. And literally with Confer, it's like 2 taps. It's like 2 seconds. So that's just been totally revolutionary for me in terms of like planning and dealing with the data.
I meet with students completely based on what they need, and according to the data, as opposed to what I think they need. The data is there, and when you group them in that way, you can't really argue with the own data that you took notes on. They definitely set goals for themselves, and it's really cool because you can show them, like, here are all the learning targets, and here are, because you can, click it and it shows all the rest of the learning targets, and you can show them, like, hey, this is what we're working on, this is your next step, and it really helps them specify goals for themselves.
Just today, I was conferring with one of my students, and he was really interested in what was going on, and we were just doing a little reading conference, and when I told him that I was going to use the notes to help him move up levels, there was just like this big smile, like, cool, this is actually fun. So that was really sweet.
As I kept working on Confer, I would hear stories like this from teachers about how it was transforming what they were doing with their data and how it was changing what they were able to do when they met with their students. And now, almost entirely by word of mouth, over 20,000 teachers have used Confer. And as a teacher that wants to have an impact on kids, that's profoundly humbling, and it's incredibly exciting.